Thank you, Prabhuji. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pachatta Deshtarani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrunda Jaya Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrunda Jaya Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrunda Hare Krishna. Today we are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrtam, Madhya Lila, Chapter 1, Slokas from 235 to 260. So text 235. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although requesting all the devotees to give back, allowed two people to follow him. He requested all the devotees to come to Jagannath Puri and meet him during the Kar festival. The two persons who accompanied Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Jagannath Puri, Nilachala, were Balabhadra, Bhattacharya and Damodar Pandit. Text 237. After remaining at Jagannath Puri for a few days, the Lord secretly started for Vrindavana at night. He did this without anyone's knowledge. Text 238. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left Jagannath Puri for Vrindavana, only Balabhadra Bhattacharya was with him. Thus he travelled on the path through Jharkhand and arrived in Banaras, Varanasi, with great delight. Text 239. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at Banaras only 4 days and then left for Vrindavana. After seeing the town of Mathura, he visited the 12 forests. Text 240. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited all 12 places of Sri Krishna's pastimes, he became very much agitated because of ecstasy. Balabhadra Bhattacharya somehow or other got him out of Mathura. Text 241. After leaving Mathura, the Lord began to walk along the path on the bank of the Ganges, and finally he reached the holy place named Prayaga, Allahabad. It was there that Srila Rupa Goswami came and met Lord. Text 242. At Prayaga, Rupa Goswami fell down on the ground to offer obeisances to the Lord, and the Lord embraced him with great delight. Text 243. After instructing Srila Rupa Goswami at Prayaga at the Dashaswamedha Ghata, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered him to go to Vrindavana. The Lord then returned to Varanasi. Text 244. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at Varanasi, Sanatana Goswami met him there. The Lord remained there for 2 months and instructed Sanatana Goswami perfectly. Text 245. After fully instructing Sanatana Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him to Mathura with empowered devotional service. In Banaras, he also bestowed his mercy upon the Mayavadi sannyasis. He then returned to Nilachala, Jagannath Puri. Text 246. The Lord travelled all over India for 6 years. He was sometimes here and sometimes there, performing his transcendental pastimes, and sometimes he remained at Jagannath Puri. Text 247. While at Jagannath Puri, the Lord passed his time in great joy by performing Sankirtana and visiting the temple of Jagannath in great ecstasy. Text 248. Thus I have given a synopsis of the Madhya Lila, the middle pastimes of the Lord. Now, O devotees, kindly hear then a synopsis of the final pastimes of the Lord, known as the Antya Lila. Text 249. When the Lord returned to Jagannath Puri from Vrindavana, he remained there and did not go anywhere else for 18 years. Text 250. During those 18 years, all the devotees of Bengal used to visit him at Jagannath Puri every year. They would remain there for 4 continuous months and enjoy the company of the Lord. Text 251. At Jagannath Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed chanting and dancing unceasingly. Thus he enjoyed the pastime of Sankirtana. He manifested his causeless mercy, pure love of God to everyone, including the lowest man. Text 252. Residing with the Lord at Jagannath Puri were Pandita Gosani and other devotees such as Vakreshwara, Damodara, Shankara, and Haridas Thakur. Jagadananda, Bhagavan, Govinda, Kashiswara, Paramananda Puri, and Swarupa Damodara were other devotees who also lived with the Lord. Text 254. Sri Ramananda Raya and other devotees who were residents of Jagannath Puri also remained permanently with the Lord. Text 255 and 266. Other devotees of the Lord, headed by Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu, Mukunda, Srivasa, Vidyanidhi, Vasudeva, and Murari, used to visit Jagannath Puri and remain with the Lord for 4 continuous months. The Lord enjoyed various pastimes in their company. Text 257. At Jagannath Puri, Haridas Thakur passed away. The incident was very wonderful because the Lord himself performed the festival of Thakur Haridasa's departure. Text 258. At Jagannath Puri, Srila Rupa Goswami met the Lord again. The Lord invested his heart with all transcendental power. Text 259. After this, the Lord punished Junior Haridasa, and Damodara Pandita gave some warning to the Lord. Text 260. Thereafter, Sanatana Goswami met the Lord again, and the Lord tested him in scorching heat during the month of Jyesta. Vaishnav, should I pause it here, Prabhu?
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. So, today's section has only like 2 purports. It's all very brief synopsis of Madhya Lila, and then Antya Lila is starting also. So, last session we were talking about how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made an attempt to go to Vrindavan, and then he could not go that time. Then, specifically it was mentioned that he was going back to Puri, but then everyone was trying to follow him. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told the devotees in 235 verse that only all of the devotees you can stay back, and allowed only 2 people to follow him, like that he described. So he returned back to Jagannath Puri. He asked everybody, all the devotees, to come to visit him during the Rath Yatra festival, which is like Chaturmasa season, like that. During that time, asked him to come like that. So now the 2 devotees who visited with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are Balabhadra Bhattacharya and Damodara Pandita. So that's what is described. And then 237 verse we are hearing that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at Jagannath Puri for a few days, and then he secretly started for Vrindavan at night. Why did he go secretly? Because he did not want to go with all the other devotees, because otherwise everybody would want to follow him like that. And that is the reason is mentioned as secretly going. So remember in the previous section we heard about how Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami requested him not to go with so many people to Vrindavan like that. So that is the context for this. Now 238, we are seeing that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left along with Balabhadra Bhattacharya. He is the only one person, he went with him, it seems. And he went on a path of through Jharkhand forest and arrived in Banaras with great delight. Remember, this is what we are reading is a synopsis section. So whole Madhya Lila is briefly being described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, because he was not sure how much time he's going to live, whether he's going to complete Madhya Lila and Antya Lila or not, like that. So these pastimes will be described later on, where how did he make the animals chant in Jharkhand forest. All that is coming up in the next few chapters. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at Banaras for 4 days, it seems, on the way to Vrindavan, and then left from Vrindavan. Then When he went to Madura, he went to Madura first, and then he visited all the 12 forests. In fact, now all the Vrindavan parikramas that ISKCON organizes also, they do like that. They start the parikrama in Madura, and then they go to all the 12 forests in 12 forests of Vrindavan. The forest names are also given in the purport actually. Talavana, Tamalavana, Madhuvana, Kusmavana, Bandiravana, Bilvavana, Bhadravana, Kadiravana, Lohavana, Kumudavana, and Gokula Mahavana, like that. So now, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited these 12 places, it seems, he was very ecstatic. We can see in the 240 verse. He's very ecstatic, and he was very much agitated. It's described in ecstasy, though. It's not like our agitation. So, Balabhadracharya Bhattacharya somehow got Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu out of Madura, it seems, seeing that his ecstasy. So, if you notice, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not stay in Vrindavan for a long time. He himself, that's an important thing to note actually. But he stayed for some time. The details of what he does at that place is that is coming up in the upcoming chapters in Madhya Lila. So now in the 241 we see that Lord went by walking from Madura on the bank of the Ganges. He finally reached a holy place called Prayaga, which is in Allahabad. That's where Rupa Goswami came and met Lord Chaitanya, it seems. So Rupa Goswami came and paid obeisances, and then Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him and instructed Rupa Goswami at Dasaswamedha Ghata in Prayaga. So these instructions are described in later Madhya Lila. In fact, these teachings of Lord Chaitanya to 5 devotees are the central piece of Madhya Lila. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Sarvam Bhattacharya, and a conversation with Ramananda Raya, and one more, I think it's Prabodhananda Saraswati. I forgot, is it Prabodhananda Saraswati or Prakashananda Saraswati? I'm confused with the names. Basically, these 5 devotees, he gives teachings. That is a central portion of the Madhya Lila. So we can be eager to come to that sections also. What Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally instructed them. Based on that only, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami wrote so many books based on instructions, based on the relations and mercy Lord Chaitanya gave it to them. So then, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Rupa Goswami to go to Vrindavan, it seems. Then he went back to Varanasi again. So from Vrindavan, he was coming, and he stayed at Prayaga, and then he went back to Varanasi, like that. So then, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at Varanasi, Sanatana Goswami met him. And interestingly, Sanatana Goswami got the association of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 2 months. And instructed perfectly, is described in the 244 verse. So 245 verse, what we're seeing is, after instructing Sanatana Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him back to Madura with empowered devotional service. The same, he earlier ordered Rupa Goswami to go to Madura, right? Same thing he ordered Sanatana Goswami also now. Then in Benares, he also bestowed his mercy upon Mahayavadi sannyasis. So this pastime is already described in Adlila to a lot of detail, and more details coming up in Madhya Lila, it seems. How he converted all the Mayavadi sannyasis to become devotees. So many thousands of Mayavadi sannyasis become devotees, it seems. So now he went back to Jagannath Puri after that, after Varanasi. Then is described, so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did a South India tour for 6 years. So he was traveling everywhere, performing different transcendental pastimes, and sometimes coming to Jagannath Puri like that also in between, it seems. And it's described, while he was in Jagannath Puri, he passed a great time in performing Sankirtana and visiting Jagannath temple in great ecstasy. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is concluding his synopsis of Madhya Lila in 248 verse. He's telling, that's why I gave you synopsis of Madhya Lila. Now I'll give the describe the final pastimes in synopsis, that is called Antya Lila, is saying. So rest of the chapter and beginning of the second chapter deal with the synopsis of the whole Antya Lila. Remember the context? He's telling all these things with the understanding that he may not live so long to write everything like that, because he was more than 8 years old, it seems, at that time. So now he's saying in 249 verse, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Jagannath Puri from Vrindavan, he remained there and he did not travel anywhere. So this is significant. So this for 18 years, he's saying. So remember, whole Lord Chaitanya's life we discussed is for 48 years in this planet. Out of that, first 24 years was before sannyas, that was described in Adi Lila. And then within the next 24 years is called Shesha Lila. Within that, the first 6 years, he was traveling to South India, like we just now heard. That is mainly subject matter for Madhya Lila. After sannyas and during South India travel and Jagannath Puri stay a little bit. And then last 18 years of his lifetime are called Antya Lila, pastimes. That's what we're going to see in the next few verses now. Till the end of this chapter and the following chapter also, some verses we'll hear about Antya Lila summary. So during these 18 years, the devotees from Bengal used to come for every Chaturmasa, for Jagannath Puri Radha Yatra, like that, and enjoyed the association of Lord Chaitanya, it seems. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to perform chanting and dancing unceasingly during this time. So he was doing Sankirtana, and he used to give Krishna Prema to everyone. Everyone, doesn't matter their qualification, like that. And now the names of devotees who were residing with him in Jagannath Puri are being mentioned next few verses. I will read them. 252, Pandita Goshani, Vakreshwara, Damodara, Shankara, and Dardas Thakur are described. 253, Jagadananda, Bhagwan, Govinda, Kasiswara, Paramanandapuri, and Swarupa Damodara. These are devotees who also lived with the Lord, it seems. And the 254 describes Ramanandaraya, also remained permanently with the Lord, it seems. 255 more devotees' names are mentioned. Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu, Mukunda, Srivasa, Vidyanidhi. This Vidyanidhi is also called Pundraka Vidyanidhi. Detailed pastimes are given with each of these personalities, even though just names are being mentioned now. So many pastimes will be there coming up in Madhya Lila and Antya Lila. And Vasudeva and Murari, these are all the devotees from Bengal, it seems, who used to come and go. You notice Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu names are also mentioned in these devotees. That means they are not always in Jagannath Puri. We'll find out later on, Nityananda Prabhu was in Bengal because Lord Chaitanya asked him to preach. That's why he used to come for Chaturmas only for association of Lord Chaitanya. Now, 257. So this is going very fast because it's a synopsis, right? At Jagannath Puri, Haridas Thakur passed away, it seems. That incident was very wonderful because Lord Chaitanya himself performed the festival of Haridas Thakur's departure, it seems. So that is a glorious festival that's described in Antya Lila more. We'll hear about it. So at Jagannath Puri, 258, Rupa Goswami met for the second time Lord Chaitanya. Again, I don't know, this must be third time. This must be third time. Yeah, this must be third time. And the Lord invested his heart with all transcendental power. Some more instructions and blessings are given to Rupa Goswami here in this interaction. And then 259 describes the Lord punished junior Haridasa, and Damodara Pandita gave some warning to the Lord. So this junior Haridasa will hear more in the detailed description, but very briefly, Lord Chaitanya wanted to show the best example to everyone, for everyone to follow. So when Chota Haridas or Junior Haridasa, when there was an incident where he went to beg some rice for some one Mataji, and then he had for a moment some negative feelings. So Lord Chaitanya did not accept that, did not wanted to show a lesson to everybody that sannyasi should never get disturbed with women like that by any chance, like that. He should have not have gone to the woman itself alone like that also. So he tells him not to see the association again like that. Then Chota Haridasa actually takes what is it called? He does suicide actually by drowning in Ganga. And Lord Chaitanya approves it like that in that situation. So it's very important. Now Damodara Pandita, so it's described that he gave some warning to the Lord so that others will not blaspheme, it seems. So actually in one sense, Damodara should know that Lord Chaitanya is Supreme Lord. So he should not advise him. He can do whatever he wants out of his free will, out of his supreme free will. So there's no need to warn him. But because he has so much intimate relationship with Lord Chaitanya, he advised Lord Chaitanya in that situation like that. That is appreciated by advanced devotees. Prabhupada is writing in the purport. Last verse for today. Sanatana Goswami met the Lord again, it seems. Remember, Rupa Goswami met the Lord again, we heard in the previous verses. Now Sanatana Goswami met Lord again, and the Lord tested him in scorching heat during the month of Jyeshta. So what is this test? This is also a detailed pastime. It's coming up in Antya Lila. Basically, Sanatana Goswami one time was coming from Vrindavan to meet Lord Chaitanya. That time he drinks some water from somewhere, some lake. And because of that, he contracts some disease. Because of that, lot of oozing wounds come in this body basically. He's affected by some kind of disease. So then Sanatana Goswami had two options to go to Lord Chaitanya. One is to go from in front of Jagannath temple. Second is to go from the hot sand in the summer from the beach side. So he took the second option because if he takes the first option, his rationale was then some Brahmanas who are going to worship Lord Jagannath might become contaminated by him, like that he was thinking. So that's why he took the longer path, the two in the hot sun with sand burning like that. And his feet were also, he was not wearing shoes also. So he was taking so much austerity so that he is not inconveniencing devotees and Lord Jagannath worship like that. There is a test being referred to here in the context of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this case. We'll hear more about that pastime, how Lord Chaitanya embraced him even though he's in such a condition like that, and he cured him immediately like that. All those things we'll hear. They're not being described here because it's synopsis section now. So we'll pause here today. We'll continue tomorrow again. And thank you, devotees. Let's offer obeisances. Sri Chaitanya Chaitamrita ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Let's offer obeisance to devotees also. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhyocha, paritanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.